gentlemen, welcome back after the break. Up next, we have a power-packed panel discussion on strategies for data-driven outcomes. Our esteemed panelists are experts in their fields, shaping the landscape of data-driven strategies. It's an honor to have with us today Shajy Thomas, Regional Head of Technology, Asia Pacific at Technicolor, a true luminary in the realm of technology and operations leadership. Mr. Shajy Thomas brings with him an impressive tenure of 23 years, including a remarkable 15 years in senior management roles. He is a recipient of prestigious accolades such as the CIO 100, World CIO, Innovative CIO, Data Quest Digital Leadership, and numerous other CIO leadership awards, a testament to his exceptional contributions in the technology realm. Kumar KV, Group Chief Information Officer at Narayana Health, not only an experienced professional, but also a certified healthcare CIO and a digital transformation leader. Under his guidance, Narayana Health has successfully implemented scalable and secure digital solutions that has significantly elevated customer satisfaction, improved care quality, and boosted revenue. Prakash Hegde, Digital Chief Information Officer at Larsen and Toubro Limited, known for aligning technological initiatives with business objectives, driving growth and fostering innovation. Mr. Hegde plays a pivotal role in steering Larsen and Toubro Limited toward the forefront of technological innovation. We have Bhoopendra Solanki, CIO at Sakra World Hospital, recognized for his commitment to leveraging technology for healthcare outcomes. His leadership and strategic acumen have played a pivotal role in implementing cutting-edge technological solutions that have enhanced patient experiences and streamlined hospital operations. We also have with us Prathap R., who is the Senior Cyber Information Security Leader with 20 plus years of experience and currently is leading global cyber and information security terms at Texas Instruments. We also have with us Sanjay Agrawal, Head Pre-Sales and CTO at Hitachi Vantara, India and SAARC, a thought influencer orchestrating digital transformation solutions that deliver desired business value. Mr. Agrawal has fostered meaningful relationships and contributed to the broader digital discourse, ensuring that enterprises navigate the digital landscape with precision. And our moderator is our Minu Sirsalewala, who is the executive editor of CyberMedia. So can you please give them a big round of applause? Come on, we've had a tea break, so can you please give them a big round of applause? Can I please welcome our speakers on stage?
Thank you so much. I hope you all had a refreshment break. And to just set the conversation going, of course, Hemant gave a detailed insight on what the conversation that we are going to have today is around the same initiatives and topics, talking about data infrastructure management, data management, monetization, modernization, and of course, talking about AI. And so just to give a context, it's okay. So digital transformation efforts have accelerated, with 70% of organizations either having a digital transformation strategy in place or working in one. In this data-driven era, it's not just about collecting information. Of course, I spoke about that. It's about harnessing the transformative potential to lead your organization to new heights. And of course, as we have been talking about data being the strategic asset, we wanted to get a perspective from the enterprise user community on all that we have been speaking about since morning. And in discussion, we will not only look at the intricacies of data infrastructure management, but also explore the critical steps in data monetization, along with understanding the fundamental questions about seamless modernization, SLAs and beyond, and strategic alignment. So that's the conversation we have. We want to keep it as interactive as possible, but due to the paucity of time, maybe we will ask the audience to interact at the end of the conversation, or of course, if you really have a pressing question for our speakers, we'll request you to please raise your hand and let us know. So maybe if I could start with Shajy, sir. I hope I have your right pronunciation. Shajy or Shajy?
Shajy, yeah.
Shajy, okay, sir. So as businesses undergo infrastructure modernization, how can they ensure a seamless transition without disrupting the existing operations?
Firstly, thank you for having me here, and I hope I'm audible. Actually, it's a perfect question for me, because I represent the media entertainment, and then data, as any other industry, it's the center heart for all of us. It starts with data, and the whole execution of projects runs with the data, right? And I would personally, and that would be my very personal suggestion, that for any of the domain, data definitely plays a role, but it's very vital and important to first understand the workloads, understand the business requirement, and accordingly design either your storage design or your whole data workloads. If I can take a few examples, just in our case, for example, for us, every show is very different, right? A movie like Top Gun would probably have a different requirement like a Lion King versus what just came in of a Transformer. The requirements are very, very different for each of the show. And as you know, the directors are generally great storytellers. So whenever a new show comes in, we talk about the story, we talk about what's coming in there, but nobody talks about what complexity it takes. So on the back end, what does it mean for data? What does it mean for the HPC compute? And what does it mean for the visualization and everything? So that's something which we deal day in, day out.
Sure.
And it's just not visual effect for us. We have to do visual effect, we do animation, we do games, and we do immersive media, etc. So that's somewhere we come in. So what we generally do is we obviously have the data of years. It's Technicolor is a 107-year-old organization. So we have a data and experience working on multiple projects across. So we leverage their data footprint to understand what different workloads can come in. And we design the whole workloads and infrastructure based on what we have learned throughout the year. That's one thing. Secondly, it's also important to modernize. So we have to modernize our data center. New tools are coming, AI is getting implemented. So we make sure that's implemented. And we'd also make sure that the scalability is also at par, right? That requirement for now may not be the requirement for tomorrow. For example, Netflix, all the shows are by default 4K. And when you move from a 2K to 4K, the data increase is at least 2x. Just to throw some numbers, we probably generate around 400 to 500 terabytes every day. But we also delete around 100 to 120 terabyte every day. And then a lot of data keeps traveling across. So I think the design parameter is where we start off with. And we leverage and learn from all the experiences we have. And then obviously over the shows, we have to improvise a lot of things to cater all the show requirements. And
so kind of customizing it for the end user also.
That's right.
Of course. So Mr. Solanki, if I could ask you to add your thoughts to that, because you're coming from the health sector, and of course, you know, existing operations are very critical. There should be no disruption there. So your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you, first of all, to be here and you given me opportunity. Being a healthcare, yes, data is very important. It is directly proportionate to the life. Like if we are getting the data on time and then doctor, then we can save the life, or we can give the better clinical treatment. So data having the strength for each industry, but in case of healthcare, it's directly proportionate to the life. It is not like revenue generation we can utilize for better care. Better care works to spread across community, to bring a new patient like that. So indirect way. But one more thing, currently data, machine generated data is available easily in the system. But the data which is lying on paper, that is a biggest challenge still in the organization. In healthcare, it is bigger size of the paper data. We are working towards that, and then biggest challenge in this the adherence of the things and data availability also. Now many solution came in the market like cloud and on-prem also. If you using SCI, you can increase or decrease the resources whenever you want, and then get the data availability. So healthcare, working towards, like now you heard hopefully this ABDM also, this government initiative, Ayushman Bharat, digital mission, Ayushman Bharat. So in that segment, all the healthcare industry working to bring the data in single platform. Like whatever things you have as of now in the paper form, like your reports, prescription and other things, you will have all those in your mobile as a government app, ABDM, and each hospital has to comply. So that level we have to bring our data so that we can work in intraoperability. So many things are in the line, but data availability, structured data, all those things are the concerns which this technology helping to evolve and then bringing in the better outcome.
And you need to also modernize your infrastructure to, come up
Yes,
with that.
yes. Either it's on-prem or cloud. Yes, you
Yes.
have to modernize your infrastructure for the availability of data.
True. So would you like to add some thoughts? So please feel free to pitch in wherever. I do have specific questions for all of you all, given the sector that you all come from. But yeah, please feel free to just contribute.
Thank you for having me here. And okay, to talk about data and data modernization or data center modernization, that is a must today. Because given cyber security, he spoke about varied sizes, varied the availability on a daily basis, everything. But when it comes to a manufacturing setup like us, I work for L&T. So ours is slightly not very dynamic like you. Ours is more stable size, stable means I know typically what type of data gets generated on a daily basis and what is my data size and what it could be going forward. But in today's situation, modernizing becomes a must because of this cyber security and sustainability thing, what Mr. Tiwari beautifully spoke. For these two things, cyber security and sustainability thing, this makes us to modernize and keep up to date in technology and everything else. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to maintain your data, which is very crucial. Without data now today, nothing happens. When you were talking about early days, when I have seen, okay, as Tiwari said, I have seen from 5.5-inch floppy, which had an OS computer to today. So today we have got enormous computing power, enormous data storage. Nothing is a limitation today when it comes to processing power or storage. Because of that, a lot of things are evolving, including AI, ML, or whatever we are calling it today. It was not that it was not there earlier, but it was difficult to manage because of the processing or data storage and other things. Now, since it is available, it is much easier to do that. So modernization is a key. Keeping your system up to date is a key. Without that, you are vulnerable to threats. I think he will speak more about cyber security.
Yes.
So he'll be there. And that is what I would like to say. Modernization is a must. It is not a choice. You have to be.
So one part that Hemant mentioned was many companies, even though they are not a software company, they want to be like software company. That's what we are hearing from our customers as well in TI, right? So there are various reasons we are not fully on cloud. Very small part of it, say security being one of them, and high compute requirement. But our customers ask if I can spin up a compute resource on the cloud, public cloud, very easily in seconds. Why am I not able to do it on-prem, right? The SLA, the ask is very similar. Can we bring in solutions very similar to public cloud on-prem? Bhoopendra mentioned that, yes, we have HCI cloud, all of those solutions, but one of the challenges we also face is the legacy is pretty high in semiconductor. There are some tools which has to run on legacy because the software does not support a newer OS. So bringing in all of them is a challenge, I would say.
So just continuing to, you spoke about SLA also, so maybe I could just move on to the next question quickly, is that what are the key considerations in achieving the highest SLAs, like, your performance, resiliency for this data infrastructure?
Yeah, I think the single most important factor to look at is what data needs to be available in case of a issue, right? either resiliency within the same data center or within the regions. Just look at what solutions from a load balancing or high availability needs to be implemented, and then focus on that, right from the network, compute, and storage levels.
True. Sanjay, would you like to add?
Yeah. This is an interesting point when we are talking about data center modernization, as initially talked about. There are two important SLAs. One is performance, another is resiliency or availability. When we are talking about performance, because the reason we are asking for the performance is because of real-time applications that are coming in today. And trust me, from a data accessibility point of view, today people are talking about 40, 50 microseconds of latency. And when we talk about IOPS, people are asking 30, 40 million IOPS today. So that's the level of performance that today's IT infrastructure is expected to deliver under the banner of data center modernization. When we talk about resiliency, we have seen our CIOs coming and asking for 8 nines of uptime, 100% data availability guarantee. From a data perspective, we have heard 2 controllers failing, entire system goes down. Can system tolerate more than 2 controller failure and still data being made available? So these are some of the technologies that have started coming in under the banner of data center modernization that are addressing the SLAs like performance and resiliency, and that is something that CIOs are focusing most on.
So just to quickly understand from you all, because you're talking about data infrastructure management, and Hemant really spoke about sustainability and that being an agenda coming from the board also. So if one of you could share, you all mentioned about having a DC to run also. So sustainability is a growing concern. How can businesses build a sustainable data infrastructure that aligns with the environmental goals?
Okay. The sustainable is the thing, not only in data center, everywhere else now. So when it comes to data center, we talk about sustainability, what is it? One is optimizing your power, optimizing your computers or your servers or your data things. And then how to optimize your power consumption within the data center itself. Maybe it could be cooling, maybe it could be trying to modernize and see that the infrastructure or the servers consume less power or more energy efficient.
True.
As rightly put across. Means, in fact, to be frank with you, Tiwari has told most of them what we could tell. We are only trying to consolidate it or trying to tell it in bits and pieces. So that's how the sustainability comes. For example, one of the examples which we tried to do was like server in our data center, the temperature was 18 degrees. A typical setup was 18 degrees. The first thing what we questioned was, my servers can run at 24 degrees efficiently. Why should I be at 18 degrees? So we actually did not go to 24, we set it at 22 degrees. That's where we would be able to save power. So like this, there are a lot of initiatives which we have been done. Means everything is part of an SLA. True. Sustainability is one of the, it is not just data, this is available 100% or 99.9% is not the only SLA. Now SLAs are above this also. Sustainability is one of the key SLAs in today's world. That's what I would like to say.
If I can add on it, so some of the practices, by default, it should be there everywhere. Be it the equipments which you select should be sustainable. The whole logistic life cycle which comes in should be sustainable. Data centers should be much more efficient, right? But there are 2 parameters generally I see a lot of people miss out on. One big culprit, I would say, is AI. AI has been a big topic around all the board members.
We will also be coming to it.
So I think AI itself is generating so much of compute, the whole world, which is creating the whole need for it. Another thing which generally goes is the data. There are so much of data which has been lying in different storage, both on-prem and cloud ever, right? So optimization is something which generally gets missed out in a lot of organizations. And data is one of the things I think we have to focus on optimization and categorize your data, what needs to be at the hotspot, active data, what can be lying somewhere else on a cold storage and you access it somewhere. But all this has to tie up with what automations and AI and best practices you put towards. So if you optimize the data, you need less amount of devices to be powered on.
Absolutely.
And the consumption also reduces. But unfortunately, it's the other way around. The consumption is increased, which goes in the cycle to have more availability there, and then the whole cycle comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I want to share something very interesting. This was one of the panel discussions where question was, when we talk about sustainability, is it the area that IT team, data center team only should focus on, or anybody else in the organization is responsible too? Of course, from an IT perspective, the carbon footprint reduction would mean that infra optimization by default. But there's a significant role being played by data managers, chief data officer, and application managers as well. It's size of the data that defines the size of the infrastructure. So data managers can look into and optimize the footprint of the data, and certain technologies, compression, deduplication, dark data assessment, moving out unnecessary data could be a part of the responsibility that will directly reduce the infrastructure. When it comes to application managers, they actually play most important role. Every application that enterprise has will have a lot of data in the form of aggregation, reports, which are used once in a while, in addition to the core raw data. The best practice would be that if you have a raw data, you should try and generate reports on the fly rather than building it up and storing it forever. So from a sustainability perspective, I think equal responsibility lies with application manager, data manager, in addition to data center manager.
So as we rightly are discussing about data management, because only if you're managing it well can you optimize it more efficiently. So, sir, if I could ask you, how can organizations ensure data availability and protect the critical information in the face of evolving cybersecurity threats?
Yeah, that's a good point, right? I mean, good question, not an easy answer if you if you have to think about it.
Yes.
I mean, I would say think about security by design itself, right? From when you are building the solutions. While we are building within TI itself, we have some history over time, and we are modernizing it, making it as secure as possible. But all the fundamental things, right from securing your edge to core, as well as right from till the storage, it's important. The most recent vulnerabilities that we are seeing, or the breaches, are happening from a ransomware attack, right?
Yes.
What is also happening is not just your production storage is getting encrypted by the ransomware, even the backup. Thinking about solutions like immutable backup, where the backup, once it's backed up, it cannot be written over on top of it. So it's just one version of it. That way, even if there's a ransomware attack on your production system, you can restore it from the backup infrastructure. So thinking about those, thinking about what all can go wrong, right from the edge to till the storage, that's more important.
True. So, Mr. Solanki, if I could ask you, so data management process can be complex, especially in the age of big data, when it comes to compliance, governance, you were also speaking about that. So what approaches can simplify and automate these processes to optimize efficiency?
Yeah, in healthcare, yes, compliance is the biggest challenge to keep, and data, confidential data of patient, clinical
Absolutely,
data, as well as demographic data. So we focus on the user-based role access. Availability of data, we already spoke. So now we are talking on the accessing the data with the privacy and confidentiality. So two segments are there. One, the data which we are exposing to the world, and one is within employees.
True.
So within employees, we can control with the role-based user access. But if it is exposed to the internet and cloud, then the cyber security comes in the picture. Cyber security is just it's not like a one-time task. It's a continuous process. You have to watch, monitor, and include new solution into your bucket, and look out a complete framework of the security. If your environment or infrastructure is old, like one example, Windows 7 desktop doesn't allow browser upgrade, this Chrome. So that is the vulnerability. Anybody can enter. Same way on the server side. Few legacy applications are running on Windows 16 or Windows Server 16 or lesser than that. Then you can't install the latest application or latest cyber security on top of that. So that is the vulnerability part. So in that segment, management supported in case of like our organization, they always ask, before COVID, nobody is bothered about this, but now they understood the technology strength. So they are asking now what is next. Means earlier we supposed to go to them and then, sir, please approve the this server or capex or something. Now they are asking, what is your next plan? We heard this cyber threat are there, or our data got corrupted. So what is your action plan? And in BCP sometimes they ask about the BCP also. Earlier they said we'll manage with the paper if something goes wrong with the IT. So
they are becoming
huge,
more
more predictable, and then CIO has to work more towards the cyber security, data availability, and infrastructure modernization. Also, it's a continuous journey. It is earlier it was like you upgraded and forget for 5 years at least, server side. Because the application getting accessed by internal team. But now it is exposed to the public. Through app or through website or through push mechanism. So if public facing those challenges like rolling or latency is huge, then it will give impact of your to your business.
Absolutely.
So that way, this modernization of infrastructure also continuous journey. You have to look every year and which area you can improve. Please improve. Otherwise, you will be behind from the market race.
So would you like to add, because you also have this multiple sets of data being generated, operations, separate supply chain kind of a thing. So what's your...
Yeah, we okay, when it comes to manufacturing and the setup, we do have varied data into place.
True.
So when it comes to security wise, this data is again categorized. It is not that every data is needs to be secured, very secured. See, for example, if it is a design data, for me, it is very secret. I have to be very careful that my design data does not get out unauthorized.
Absolutely.
And same way, like all my master data, like my customer master, my vendor master, these type of a thing. More than a transaction, my masters and design data are like this. The data is categorized. Based on that, a lot of systems are in place. For example, most of my design data are protected with DLPs, where I ensure that none of my data goes without a proper detection thing, and I'll be able to trace it and see that where exactly it is going. And it is monitored on a regular basis, who shares what and what type of data is going out to whom. So that way we try to monitor and see that, ensure that our design data or the data which we feel is very, very important is not shared to unauthorized people. That's how it is being done. And when it comes to vulnerabilities, we ensure that all patch management happens judiciously. There's a system in place. Whenever there is a patch released from OEGs, that patch is applied. Means initially before putting into production, it's applied somewhere else, tested out, and applied on it. So that we are always on the updated latest version of the OS, whether it's OS or whether it is an application. Both are always. Patch management is very, very sacrosanct for us, and that is where we're done. Because of that, we feel safe to a large extent. And all said and done, the weakest point, if you really see that, are the endpoints or the end users.
Absolutely, yes.
So that's a thing. So even at endpoint, we have ensured that a lot of checks and balances are in place, including DLPs and things. So with that, their security issues.
So, sir, if I could also ask, we are talking about, of course, automating and simplifying the automation. So then that's, at the end of the day, you need the monetization aspect coming into it. So, you are sitting on this heap of data. How do you really unlock the potential, to drive towards the data monetization?
Right. So as I mentioned, optimization has generally been the DNA of the whole infrastructure, right? But what we also do is we have all this data. For example, if we handle large data sets, right? And we also say that the data management is just not technology's responsibility, it is responsibility of everywhere, right? So the consumption of the large thing like data, be it the HPC compute or the application, it's all tied up to a particular show, right? But it's very manual effort to get everything done. So where we have done an automation is to let a particular user or a show production person know that what has been your consumption. So that's where most of our automation and predictive algorithms has been put in to give the educate requirement and the report. So it's not a long, lengthy report which the users or creative minds cannot understand. It's probably relate to what is a dollar spent for you on the compute and for all these things together. That's one piece. Secondly, since we work on different projects, so there is always an option of using some of the assets for a different project. Obviously, there will be a copyrights where you can't use a creature or a particular hero character for a different movie, but the 3D models you create, the backgrounds which you create, we can get the metadata out of it, and probably that will reduce a 20% of your manpower cost just to do on that. So that's some of the areas where we do automation. One very interesting thing, if you're interested, which came in, especially it got very popular after COVID, is a virtual production.
True.
Something like if the shoot is happening in one side and production is happening on a different side, after every take, there used to be a huge rendering process, which is high compute thing, and then it goes back to the studio, and probably you get a result after 2 days or 3 days after 36 hours of renders, right? So that whole workflow has, not the whole show, but large shows had moved to something called a virtual production where we use a virtual reality. And the whole thing, the director can actually see everything real time. So instead of waiting for 3 days with 36 hours or 72 hours,
It's more RTA.
he does he sees the shoot characters, he can see the animation, he can see a character which is getting built in Bangalore or London anywhere. And on the fly, he changes the model here, textures here, creature here, change the environment, change the lighting set model. And he sees exactly the same thing real time, and he takes decision based on that. So that's probably one of the example of a power of technology where you save time, you saved cost, and then obviously a lot of manpower got saved there.
So, Prathap, if I could ask you, of course, when we're talking about so much of intelligence also happening, so there's a lot of unstructured data which also seeps into the system. So how do you analyze that and get meaningful, benefits for the business and see some efficiency there?
Well, we will need some kind of a data management or rather data lake kind of a solution to look at unstructured data. So as of today, for example, right, in this security world, we use something called a SIM, right? What we are really getting is the events from a security events. Very similarly, we also use data management solutions to look at our sales trends. Sometimes most of them are unstructured as well, including our marketing data as well as sales data. We will need to invest in data analytics as well as management solutions to make sure they help us there to take decisions.
So, rightly mentioning about intelligence, so quickly moving on to your, we all talk about AI, ML, and that's the way ahead people have been predicting that, to bring some sanity to the data that you have been assimilating and to get some intelligence into it, you need to have your AI tools in place. So if I could ask any of the gentlemen here to please contribute your thoughts on how do you integrate this into your system, of course, and ensure efficiency of usage, with that.
I missed your talk. I think you were talking about data is new oil or
Yes.
whatever it is. And this is what I say most of the place. Yes, it's a oil, but it's a crude oil. If you really see, the data per se is a crude oil. It's of no use. Means if you don't refine it, your data is as good as crude oil. You can't use it anywhere. That's how it is. If you really see, 80s and 90s, our primary focus was on capturing data, capturing transactions. So you collected data. But 20s and now it is, how do you use that data? See, today's world is who can refine the data and present it on right time and the right way is the one who can actually reap the benefit of whatever data has been collected over years or whatever data is being collecting today. See, in any given business, if I want to know what is my health of my business, I should have data analysis or data thing which is on the fly. Means there is no lag, latency, nothing. It was not like earlier days, you put up a BW business warehouse in place and then it was syncing it yesterday night and you actually have your reports or dashboards or anything which is a day old. Today we don't talk about it. Today we talk about as good as a minute old data. Means you should be able to see it on your mobile. Forget about on a laptop or anything else. Having said that, how do we refine it? Most of the data is unstructured.
Absolutely.
Even today, it's not that I have a structured data and I can get my reports on the fly, dashboards on the fly. No, it's not. Most of the data is unstructured and it is not as if I can just use it. Yes, very few financial transactions can be used immediately. But most of the data is not that structured. So data has to be refined and then shown. That is where most of our AIs and a lot of this LLM tubes solutions come into picture, where actually I can actually process partially. Means I don't tell it's totally unstructured or it is not structured. Somewhere it's in between. That is where you put in your rules, you put in your AIs which learn from their own this and gives you a real-time insights or real-time dashboards or real-time information. One of the examples which I could give, and for example, we collect customer data. Every transaction with my customer is recorded. Every visit, what my sales engineer does and discusses with the customer is real time. And he can actually put in, once he discusses, comes out, he puts it into his mobile, what exactly he had discussed with the customer. Now, how do I use that data? That is where we try to use all the discussions what he does with the given customer and try to profile a customer. What type of customer he is, what type of discussion happens with him. So if I have to go back to him, what is it I should pitch in so that I can do a better. Same way I will try to profile my sales engineer also, how effective he is. How can it, all this is possible today because of AI tools and what do you call a modernized heavy processing power, real-time data, is all this is possible with that. We have been using AI, you call it as AI, ML, whatever you call it as, but basically NLP type of a thing where we use, try to profile customer, try to profile my sales engineer, and try to get some insight on what exactly is happening. Whether my sales engineer is effective, whether customer is demanding differently, how do I pitch into him? All this type of thing is possible and we are doing it. That's one of the
Mr. Solanki,
use
I could
cases.
also ask you, because healthcare is highly being influenced by the AI, ML initiatives and implementations. So any thoughts on that, please?
Yeah, in healthcare, we categorize data in two segments. One is real-time data. Real-time data means like if any abnormal value, your sugar level is high, then immediately a notification goes to the doctor. So for the better care. So that is a real-time data. And second is historical data, which we can pull out and do the data mining, or we can use for some marketing purpose, research purpose, all those. So that real-time data, we are in the POC level and doing the POC to integrate the AI thing. And like in appointment system, we already implemented in doing the UAT, and thereafter we will make it go live. Like Ms. Minu is calling the Sakra World Hospital. That AI will speak with you, and that will say, Ms. Minu, you taken the appointment for Dr. X. You want to take the appointment for him only or someone else? Like some other doctor. Okay. So which department? Like that, that interactive session based on that data, because data availability is there.
So mapping is happening.
Yes, mapping is happening. We are doing UAT, and soon we'll going to enable this and in appointment system. Similarly, in report formation, like radiologist and pathologist, those people making the report. So earlier they are seeing the parameter for each component, then they are developing the report and verifying, and it is going to the patient. Now AI only read those parameter and form a report. That report will go to the doctor because final review is required. So Earlier, she or he that taking 10 minutes for one report, now I think maximum 1 minute is sufficient. So that level of efficiency going to increase.
Absolutely.
So those we are working, and hopefully we'll bring soon into our system.
So quickly, thought from the data-rich players that any AI predictive implementations that are being used efficiently for business outcomes.
Right. So most of our AI R&Ds are actually happening in the R&D. I cannot talk about it, but
Okay.
the two areas which is a very clear focus for us is in the whole workload of a filmmaking. There are a lot of process which is a lot of manual efforts are required. So one big thing is we are going to automate a couple of them. One example I gave is virtual production. In all the workflows, we are actively looking which are the things which can be automated to bring in efficiencies and reduction of manpower. That's one area. The second area we are looking, as I said, each show has a different complexities. What we're building a tool in between the new business team. New business team, when they get a show requirement, they have to do some simulation, what kind of complexities, what will it need in terms of resource, manpower, etc. Right? So that is something which using our ML algorithms, we are going to feed back to them saying, okay, we did this show which has this 20% similarity of the new show which is getting bidded. So this could be the values, and that simulation which used to be a lot of manual discussions and a lot of human intelligence used to play a role before, will probably be automated, and they should probably in few hours get the report out of it. That's the two areas. And obviously there's small things which we keep doing. We did an ad for MasterCard, which is Messi's ad. So in that ad, Messi, when he was a 14-year-old, and he was traveling from Spain, the first time traveling to play the first game. So in that, the whole interaction has been created using thousands of pictures of Messi and a lot of videos and audios together. And in the end, the 14-year Messi interacts with the current Messi, and then they walk down to the stadium. So that was completely created using AI generative neural rendering.
Prathap, so you would like to add something? Then I could move to Sanjay quickly.
So primarily we are looking at from a semiconductor designs as well. When we there are vendors coming out with these solutions, like we call it the EDA tools. So electronic design and automation, that's what EDA stands for. They are coming out with solutions where it is making the life of a chip designer easier to catch where the challenges might be or mistakes might be done. So those kind of things that are coming in. From a security standpoint, there's a huge shift, especially right from people writing code. We have now solutions, AI solutions, where they're saying, while you're writing code, when it actually gives you a secure code template to make sure and it also tells you if you're doing some mistakes there. So those are some of the things that's happening there.
So quickly, Sanjay, we were also discussing, in our conversation. So giving from the IT implementation perspective and integrating it, so how does Hitachi Vantara look at AI and integrating it into the IT implementation?
So actually, if you look at AI is everywhere in the entire IT domain.
True.
In another way, you can say wherever you find data, AI will always be there. So when we talk about Hitachi Vantara offerings and integration of AI, it's at multiple levels. It's at the infrastructure level, it's an ITOM AOps level, and it's also at the data lake level and all. Quickly, let me try and give example. When we are talking about data center modernization, for example, if IT manager has to provision a volume for a new campaign, and there are multiple storage arrays available, traditionally it's hard-coded and only one will get picked up from one array. But today with AI coming in there, with AI integration over there, AI system will sense which is the least used, least busy array, and it'll go and pick up the space from there and ensure the optimization is there. So that is one example, and there are hundreds of things in IT space. When it comes to IT management, ITOM, for example, that has evolved to next level like AI ops. ITOM, which is AI enabled, and people are talking about hyper ops also. AI plays an important role to bring efficiency, root cause analysis, faster troubleshooting, and Hitachi is leading in integration of AI and all. When we talk about business, when we talk about data monetization, for example, and data lakes, data fabric was talked about earlier, You know, if you talk about these entities like data fabric, data lakes, a lot of data is coming in on a daily basis. We have the data, but those data sets are not available to the business immediately. And the delay for that is because of you know, data catalog not getting populated. It takes a lot of time for them to identify and populate. So today AI technologies are being used to create a fingerprint and automatically in a speedy fashion populate the data catalogs with business groceries and make those data immediately available to the business for analysis. These are just 3 examples. There are hundreds of examples where AI integration and leverage is happening.
You know, so we of course are having all this conversation. We are talking about data, and also, as Hemant had also pointed out, it's data driven. You know, and eventually it all is about the success of these data driven outcomes. You know, so if you all could, I would just keep 2 opening questions in terms of giving your closing thoughts on these 2 questions. Is that if you'll have some success stories where you could talk about the data driven outcomes, where you'll have significantly transformed your organization's profitability, or even as the industry trend, does not have to be specific to your organization, but maybe as a trend in your sector. And what are the KPIs and metrics organizations should use to measure the success of these data-driven outcomes? Yeah, so that those would be your closing thoughts, please.
Okay, when we talk about data-driven, means there are a lot of use cases. See, as one of the cases which I was trying to tell you there, we try to analyze things. Same way, every decision, whenever we try to see, I'm just talking in perspective of what we have been doing. So every customer is again, not just profiling a customer. I also try to understand the business he's doing with us. What type of business he's doing, what is the machinery he has bought, what is the spare parts he has bought, and how much over a period of time, what he should have bought and what he is buying. Is it less? If it is less, then why is it? So based on all this, actually we go and pitch in with customers to do a better business. For example, if somebody has bought a machine for me, and it is not just one transaction, it is just machine is a beginning, then we have got a whole lot of service into picture. With this data and everything else, today we are offering pay-per-use. Means he buys a machine from me, then I tell him, you don't bother about any maintenance, you don't bother about anything, you give me a contract, every hour of usage you pay me this much. Everything else is taken care. I'll give you an availability guarantee.
So
97%,
like
80%.
yes.
This is purely based on whatever data which is available over the machine. So we analyze that data and understand what could be my cost per use, per hour. Based on that, I pitch in. This is how we are able to purely work on data and pitch in more business. We are doing it very successfully.
Very good.
Maybe I can add if, please go ahead.
Yeah, in our case, like I said one example, like earlier this vitals, abnormal vitals to doctor going in very lengthy way. Like this technician noting down on the paper, then informing doctor over phone. If doctor is busy in OT or some other case, then they are sending a message. So that way. But now when we have this data, so data going on real time and reaching to the doctor in the form of call, system generated call, as well as this WhatsApp message, then they can give a better treatment. And being a healthcare, everyone comes with the pain to the hospital, correct? No one come with the smile to the hospital apart from this delivery case. So if we make the more people happy when they are leaving the hospital, it's a good achievement for us. True. So doctor only mentioned that this transformation of this abnormal value, only one part, it is based on the data driven, makes the changes like here to there. They appreciate IT to enable this segment. So that is the data driven outcome which give you a this biggest achievement or biggest output towards your customer. The patient is our customer, and if they are happy or they are getting cured before time or within a time, that will be better. Otherwise, long stay means long expense, everything will go to their pocket. So that is the data-driven things which we realized, and we are working some other segment also.
Absolutely.
So let me share something very interesting. I was doing a CIO workshop, and data-driven was the theme there. And during the discussion, one of the CIOs said, "I want to share something." He said, "Look, I have it's a financial BFSI segment customer. I have a data warehouse, and we are using it optimally. We have great insights. We know who are our 10%, top 10% customers giving us maximum business, and who are our bottom 10% not giving business. We have acted on that, but for last 2 years, we have not seen the business enhancement. We are data driven. We have data warehouse. We are doing analysis, but outcome is very small." Point that was coming out in the workshop is the definition of data-driven has also changed over a period of time. This particular example was the definition of data-driven maybe 8 years or 10 years back. Today, the data-driven definition is significantly changed. For the same customer, or let's say bank, the data warehouse analysis is no longer meaningful. That was analyzing only the business transactions. Today, the data-driven analysis would require analysis of not only the customer transactions that banks are doing, but also understanding customers' interactions, sentiments, loyalty, preferences, online behavior, and things like that. When you pick up that piece of the data, which is significant, maybe 70% of the total data, blend it together, analyze it, you start getting a 360-degree view, which was never possible. Then you understand what is happening, why customers are leaving. You come up with a different product strategy, go-to-market strategy, and that becomes a true data-driven initiative in today's world. And that applies to healthcare. There are hospitals working on patient 360-degree view as well. And that's going to help them in a lot of new services that will get launched. And of course, it will bring a lot of new revenue.
Government initiatives
is
also,
anyway.
where we're looking at a lot of
Anyway,
these assimilation, where there's one window view for all these kind of activities.
Recently, this DPDP they enabled, so everybody is worried.
So yes, so sir wanted to talk about it. I said we are going to not discuss that on the open forum. It can become very chaotic and people get very enthusiastic about this topic. So we will keep it for an offline conversation. But sir, if you would like to add, yes.
No, I just wanted to add, while I was thinking about it, this is a very simple data-driven decision that we took some time ago. It might not sound a really big thing. So what we realized was we are about 30,000 employees worldwide. We use desk phones, VoIP phones in our offices. Oh. Every desk gets it. We said, okay, let's see how many people use the desk phones in the last 1 year or so. It was outstanding to just see, it was less than 1% of the people. Then we said, okay, we have all of this data. We don't really need desk phones to so many people. Let's roll out soft phone. We had a soft phone solution, but we were not using it for some reason. So we actually got rid of those 30,000 plus VoIP phones, hardware phones, to soft phones, right? Looking at the data, right?
So would that be adding to sustainability or taking away from sustainability?
You're actually saving cost in there and not really taking away anything from the user. They have soft phones, they can use the laptop or desktop to call still.
So great insights. I really want to thank for this enthralling conversation. Is there any other thoughts that you all would like to, because then I can open the forum for questions to the audience. I'm sure they would be wanting to have some thoughts coming from the experts. So shall I just ask for the Q&A? Anybody from the audience, would you all have any questions for our speakers?
I just want to know from Hitachi, Vantara, because nowadays a lot of LLM use are coming up, large language model use are coming up. So what your storage solutions you have and how you are incorporating those kind of a thing to help the other startups or companies?
Yeah, so there are some of the things being done at R&D level. We are not, exposed to that fully, but I can share something offline with you on that.
Okay, thank you.
So good afternoon. My name is Ajit Narayanan, and I'm coming from a company called Pinakasta Computing, which is a Bangalore-based cloud company. So I have a question. with regards to, we'll be talking about modernization, optimization, everything, digital modernization and everything. So lately what we have seen is public clouds were initially very attractive. Everybody we were struggling to get onto the cloud. And these days we are seeing that at scale, cloud is like not very lucrative. And we have a lot of stories where people are exiting cloud, public cloud, right, because of various factors, cost being one of the main thing. So what I have a question for the panel is like, when we talk about on-premise solutions and virtualization and all those things comes into picture for optimization, and VMware lately has a different story going on with Broadcom acquisition and all, which is very uncertain. So I just want to understand, when we talk about this on-premise setup and all, what are the priorities or the list of technologies which you would be opting for?
I can take that. So, very valid point. When we looking at moving to the cloud, public cloud, we did an analysis. It was very lucrative to go for the first year or second year, but when we looked at long term, the cost was high. So like I said, now the customers, when I say customers, are internal business users. They're asking, okay, we don't have to go to the public cloud, but can you give me the experience like a public cloud on-prem, right? Can you give solutions very similar to it? You did mention VMware as an option. There are technologies like HCI. HCI is hyper-converged infrastructure, building an hybrid cloud, on-prem cloud kind of setup, and then building solutions to it across, right from the virtualization layer to storage layer as well, right? So you can either do a tier 3 or tier 2 kind of architecture and then move forward with it.
So is it still on cards, like very much active, this on-premise strategy is going on? Or
very much. So I was just reading an article a couple of days ago, right? So there are about 70% of the companies in India want to move back to on-prem.
Okay. Okay.
I was just reading. I was a bit surprised when I saw that,
Okay.
for various reasons, like you mentioned.
Okay.
So I am more bullish, saying the companies would want to build solutions like a public cloud, give an offering which is on-prem.
Okay, that's bringing a lot of smiles in me, because we are HCI guys, so that's a good news for us. Thank you, thank you.
In fact, today if you look at basics, if you have to take a decision on cloud, there is an assessment that you need to do. Will I be benefited with cloud or not?
Right.
People blindly jump to the cloud. If you understand the fundamentals of the cloud, it's about agility.
Right.
So if there is a basic layer of infrastructure, then cloud vendors add automation and management layer on top of it. That makes the stack expensive. If your workload is going to be consistent, steady state utilization, it's going to be expensive and you're not taking advantage but paying more.
Right.
That's the reason most of the companies which move to a public cloud want to come back, because most of their workloads are pretty steady state.
Yeah, I think that's where the workload characterization will help.
That's one.
You need to understand which you need to put it in cloud, where its scalability,
Exactly.
agility, everything is reported, and where you can have it on-premise and you can have a secured
That's known as portfolio assessment.
Right, right,
You'll have to do that, and then also keep the egress charges in mind.
right. That's where.
Even if you are qualified to take it to the cloud technically, because everything fits in, but egress charges will hit you.
Yeah, network bandwidth is where they burn the fingers. Right. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Nitin Jakati, co-founder of one of the startup companies. So my question is, so there is a DPDP Act which is going to come now, data protection and data privacy. So first question is, what do you think is the implication for companies across India, and what is the implication for hyperscalers which are offering cloud services?
No, in fact, this may not be the right forum at this stage on DP 23 for a couple of reasons. Reason for that is that it's the framework that has been published. The notifications are coming, interpretations are yet to come. So chances are what you and I understand today, the implication of DP 23, at the ground level that may not be the case. But at a very high level, whatever is the interpretation and notifications coming to individual industries and organizations, one thing is there for sure, that there is going to be a higher level of protection of consumers' data. And when it comes to hyperscalers, they need to ensure the data is placed at the right place with the policies that DP 23 is coming in. But I think in few months' time, with more notification and interpretation, we'll get more clarity. It is going to impact, I would say it's going to modify or redefine the digital transformation strategy for enterprises as well.
So, rightly mentioned, yes.
Just to add to it, right? It's the hyperscalers are already preparing for it. They are building availability zones in India. So the only requirement, or one major requirement that DPDP is asking us to, is at least have a copy of the data being processed in India. And all of the top 3 hyperscalers have an availability zone in India, right? So they are prepared for it.
So because of paucity of time, we have one more session following this discussion. So quickly wrapping up and thanking the panelists for their valuable time, the insights and the expertise. I think we really had a very insightful, enthralling discussion. I hope the audience will also echo with that. I had some very great questions coming in. We have the conversations going. We can take it offline. And everybody is available for discussions, so please feel free to discuss over the lunch break. Thank you so much, everybody, and we will just head on to the next session now.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.